The first DIY is a vase, and it looks like clay, and it's really cool. So first I'm using the spackling. You can find it at the Dollar Tree, but I decided I already had some, so I used some that I had at my house. And then I took a spoon and I just started scooping in the spackling, and I took a pretty large scoop for the first one. And then later on, I just repeated this process, and I scooped. It was kind of difficult to scoop, so I just really scooped down in there. And I used not a toothpick, but a popsicle stick. And I just took that, and I tried out with this first cup, and it didn't really work. And I was going to smooth it out, but I decided to use this base, the same base that I'm covering. So I just smoothed it out really well, and then I repeated this process over and over towards the, onto the vase. And I kept doing this process until I covered the entire base with the spackling. And then I used my thumb, or sometimes I used a spoon, to really just smooth out the spackling. And once I almost finished the base covering it, I really just repeated, like almost a rolling pin. I really smoothed it out even more to make sure you couldn't see any of the fingerprints on it or anything like that. And I wanted to keep some of the cracks and some of the imperfections, so it looked more, very organic and not so smooth and perfect. I didn't want to look like that. For the rim, I just took like a piece of the spackling, and I really rolled it out. And then I just placed it around the top rim, and then I really just smoothed it out. And I made sure to push inward so it really had the rounded look, and you couldn't see the glass on the inside. I then continued to roll out the vase. I continued to do that throughout the process. And this is the final one, I believe, after I did the top rim, I rolled it out a lot for at least a good minute, and I made sure to make sure not to roll it out completely to where it was completely flat, and I wanted to keep some of the imperfections and make it organic. I then just patched up any small holes that there was, and then that's about it. That's the final product of the vase. I cannot believe I forgot this, but I also did paint it after I finished. On this DIY, the failed DIY, what I started off with, I just started hot gluing these two scrap pieces of wood I found in my little craft area, and I thought, what can I make out of this? And I thought, I'm gonna make a holder for like keys or jewelry or whatever. Didn't really work, but well, I mean, it could have worked, but I failed very miserably. But I ended up only using the two larger pieces. I did not use the small square. I might use that in another DIY video coming up soon. But I did not use, I ended up just breaking that off if you do see that glued on. But I started off with taking some popsicle sticks, and I started gluing them on the back just as like a support brace so they would not fall apart. Next, I started, I had these, glass beads, I guess, and I had a bag of pearls, so I thought they all go together, so I'll glue them on this thing. So I started off with taking some of the, marbles, I think, and then I started gluing them on with this hot glue. A few of them fell off, but you can see I still have that tiny piece on, but I did break that off eventually. But you get the process, you just start gluing and gluing. So here's what I ended up with the large beads. You can see I ended up breaking off the smaller piece, and because it was so bulky and it just did not look good. So, I ended up just taking the small pearls and making them into like an ombre effect where it like was very dense, and then it got much more spread apart. And I just continued to add these pearls throughout the, other side of the thing, and as you can see. Here's what it looked like after I added the small pearls on the other end. I will be painting it so the color doesn't matter, but you can see right there. You can get where it's going to look like. And for the paint, I'm sure you've seen this hack trick, whatever you want to call it, where you mix baking soda and acrylic paint. And I wanted to make like a cream color, and I ended up using the same paint to paint the vase, but it did not work on the marbles. It just fell off, and it was very messy and just did not look good. But I just mixed a small amount of brown paint and a lot of white acrylic paint, and then I added a large amount of baking soda, as you can see, and then I just started painting it on.
It's not for me to say you love. Go with the brothers, you know how we do.
For this final DIY, it was just this really cool thing I found at the Dollar Tree that I painted. That's it. That's the end of the video. Hope you liked it. Make sure you like and subscribe. Stay safe, everyone.